Welcome to Intuitive Real Talk, the podcast where I'm going to cut through all the BS. I'm going to light a fire under your spiritual ass, and I'm going to remind you your intuition isn't weird, it is your superpower. Hi, I'm Stephanie, a psychic medium, intuitive coach, animal communicator, paranormal expert. Yep, all the things intuitive. I'm also a professional truth dropper. So, what are we going to do here? We're going to dive into it all. Shadow work, spirit talk, intuitive gifts, and yep, even aliens, like a spiritual dumpster dive, but with purpose. There's going to be no gatekeeping, no fluff, no performative love and light bullshit, just raw, unfiltered conversations for people who know they came here to shake shit up. Let's get into it.
Hi there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about time and how time is not linear. So, past, present, future, all running at the same time. Every time that we get triggered, it's more than likely something is happening in the past, in the future, that's causing the present to trigger us even stronger. So, we will think that it's either a trauma or that we're unfolding. It could be generational, it could be ancestral. But remember, all of that is running at the same time. So, a lot of times when we're triggered and it's a really heavy trigger, it's almost like I don't even understand why I'm so angry. It's because something is happening in your past or happened in your past, whether it's from this lifetime, a past lifetime, whatever that is, happened the same time as now. Because again, everything is running at the same time. And so when you start to get triggered, or I had this experience, it was heavy, I didn't like it, it was some sort of trauma. Now in my present, there's something happened similar with a similar energy. So it doesn't have to be the same event, but a similar energy, which now is getting triggered and makes it much more difficult, right? It's almost overwhelming or makes us feel like we're stuck in a loop, or we start to gravitate towards the same relationships, situations, because we're saying we had this experience but we didn't let it go. We didn't use the experience the way we were supposed to. And I don't mean the way that we were supposed to, but we had it and somehow it caused us to have a ripple trauma effect. So we fast forward to now, and all of a sudden, our future self is saying, I don't want to carry this. It's adamantly trying to manifest healing. And so, boom, push it back to our present self, because again, everything's running at the same time. It starts to trigger here. And so that we have the opportunity to heal it, right? So that's why ancestors, we keep going into different lineages for the same experience, so that this way it happens where we're almost like, okay, here it happened in the past. I'm now in the present and I'm getting triggered. I have the ability to either heal it, which AKA means I'm going to walk into the shadows. I'm going to say, what am I learning from this? And then I'm going to release it so that my future self isn't saying, oh gosh, we're carrying this shit and it's not allowing us to do what we need to do. And so it's trying to get you to do it right now. Again, we have options. Otherwise, we'll just keep cycling and think about I keep going in the same bad relationships. I keep having issues with money. I keep having whatever it is, right? And so your future self is saying, we need to heal this. And so it's pushing your present self to do that or to have further experiences that will trigger you to see the original trauma experience for what it was. Because our soul wants to experience all these things. But then we start to loop and then we want to keep reincarnating because we want to keep healing and we want to unfold and blah, blah, blah. That's a trap. So, in order to let that go, we have to actively step into our shadows now. When we get triggered, we are supposed to look within and say, okay, I don't need to carry this anymore. It was an experience and that's it. And it was to help me either let something go or go towards something. So now, as soon as you're healing this, our future self is always at these crossroads, right? There's all these timelines running at the same time. And so maybe instead of continuously being poor, boom, your highest time changes. And then all of a sudden, it's like our highest timeline, because if you think about it like TV, all these channels are going at the same time, even if you're only watching one channel. So when you think about that, your timeline is constantly always forking out and becoming different timelines. And so your highest will always elevate as you're elevating. Now, what you think your highest timeline should be right now is where you're at in your journey. So let's say I only make like $30,000 a year. And again, this is just an example. And my highest timeline, I want it to be $1 million a year. So I start to manifest and heal and let go of those blocks that make me feel like I'm not worthy, deserving all those things. And so all of a sudden, $1 million sounds like a lot, right? And then I'm becoming more abundant. So my highest timeline says, whoa, I'm at 1 million. This is effing awesome, right? But I start to get to 500,000 a year and I'm like, 1 million, that's kind of like chumpy change now because I have elevated, because I know that I'm worthy of more. And so now I'm going to say that, you know what? 5 million sounds better. So now my highest timeline, boom, grows up. Now it could also be that I want to have children. Let's say my highest timeline right now says that I struggle to have children, but I'm not continuously having loss. And so then I'll all of a sudden have one child and then I'll be like, wait, maybe I want to have two children. You know what I mean? And so then it's elevating. It could be with relationships. It could be with traveling. It could be with living in your dream home. It could be whatever your soul is craving. So when your soul starts to crave something, it's literally saying, hey, this is what I am okay with accepting right now because my highest timeline is saying this is what I'm going to have. And then when I elevate and I start growing, healing, and doing all the stuff, my highest timeline now is saying my soul's like, hey, wait, you just did a whole bunch of work. Let's elevate this. Now, this can also be with your intuitive gifts because that's all about confidence of delving into who the F you really truly are. And so let's say my intuitive gifts say, right now, I just want to read someone and I want to be very in tune. I don't want to feel like I'm making up shit. I want to just know everything is great. But that's why when we give readings, we're reading not only your highest timeline, but where you're currently at. Now, when you start to, let's say you're watching the news and all of a sudden they say it's going to rain today, you take out an umbrella, boom. Now you just caused yourself not to get wet if it starts to rain, right? So when you get an intuitive message, you now have the ability to grow if you choose to, or you have the ability to stay. Let's say all of a sudden you grow. Now your timeline has changed, your energy has changed. So some of the other things we have told you may be a little different than what you're expecting because all of a sudden you have this happening and you've just made your highest timeline different. Okay, why is this important? It is important so that this way we do not keep coming back and looping into a reincarnation, aka this game. We are meant to be part of the true source, which is not the fractured crap that we're dealing with because it's fractured, which is causing the chaos, which is causing the duality of negative low vibrational to be stronger than high vibration. And that's why we have like 3D, 5D, 7D, 9D, 11D. It's all because it's not levels, it's just different realms, different abilities. And that's why a lot of us that come here, we crave magical shows where people have superpowers, where you're reading about these things. Where do you think that comes from? We can't make up shit unless it's already out in the ether, right? And so we crave having these type of intuitive abilities such as moving shit with our minds, doing all the things because we're infinite, we're powerful, right? We're just a galactic being in a human shell that's running everything, right? But if you think about like a video game, you have that one that's sitting here moving all these avatars. That's you. You are moving this avatar to have experiences. But we forget it's a game when we're here because we're stuck in a loop. And so that's why another thing is why mediums are always trying to cross over spirit so that they don't stay stuck in the loop, so that it doesn't drag humanity down. Because when you have a whole bunch of lost, unhealthy souls walking around and influencing the energies and the emotions, it keeps us in a low vibration instead of allowing us to grow. So, gosh, I hope that made sense. That was a lot of information. And I just hope that you have a really great day and throw your comments in there. I would love to interact with all of you.